Yo, what's going on guys, HyperX here and welcome back to another Division video. I am now back from Germany, back from Gamescom, so hopefully you guys enjoyed some of the videos last week, but I'm now back to my normal schedule. So that means today is, of course, vendor reset day. New blueprints in the Dark Zone vendors and new weapons in the base operations, terminal and the underground, and as always that means I'm back to tell you guys what is for sale and whether or not any of those items are worth purchasing. So if you guys do enjoy this, you do find it helpful, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below and let me know if you have any questions, but let's get started. So in DZ2 today, this is of course where you go to get your gear pieces, 204 across the board. Nothing really exciting this week. The only kind of standout item would be the stamina gloves. But beyond that, everything else is pretty much standard. Stamina backpack, stamina mask, and firearms mask. Nothing really worth writing home about. So, with that being said, let's not waste time here. So let's move over to DZ3. Now this week, your weapon, your 2291, not the blueprint, just the weapon you can buy outright, is a double barrel shotgun with Fierce, Deadly, and Trained. Now, out of all of those ones, Deadly is of course a very nice skill regardless, given Fierce isn't too bad, but it has got a pretty high requirement, so generally speaking, unless you are spec'd in a rather obscure manner, you might not really get the benefit out of this one. And as for Trained, while the talent has had its uses in the past, it's not really something I would ideally look for on a shotgun, so generally speaking, not a great role on this one. So moving over to the blueprints, you have a custom M870 MCS blueprint, which is of course one of the favoured shotguns in PvP right now. So you could consider picking that one up. It is of course gear score 204, but with a decent roll it would still be very, very good. So if you do spend a lot of time in the Dark Zone, PvP and whatnot, then this could be worth considering. And on top of that, you also have a tactical ACR blueprint. Also gear score 204, generally speaking not my favourite assault rifle, and when you do have things like the G36 available, then I, truth be told, do struggle to recommend this anyway. So, moving over to DZ4, this is of course where you go to get your gear mods, and this week you have an electronics gear mod or a stamina gear mod. Both of them are of course a given. It's just a case of if you are speccing into a particular attribute, then you want to make sure you're using the level 32 version of that mod. So with your choice be stamina or electronics, then of course make sure you pick these up if you don't have them. Then moving over to DZ5, this is where you get your weapon mods. This week there is an Osprey 45 suppressor blueprint and a quick release magazine blueprint. Both of those aren't that great. Generally speaking, for the magazine one, you want extended magazine, and as for the suppressor, the stock bonus that rolls with it isn't that great. So yeah, nothing really worth buying here. So let's move out of the Dark Zone and now go to the base operations. Starting upstairs at the special gear vendor, you have a G36C and an SAS G12 on sale. The G36C has prepared, predatory, and focused. Really not a great set of talents there, so let's not waste any time. And similarly, the SAS G12, nothing really worth writing home about. Generally speaking, the SAS G12 is a nice shotgun model to have, especially if you're in PvE. But talents on this one, while yes, you can roll them out, they're definitely not the greatest, especially when you consider some of the other options that we're going to speak about in just a second. And with that being said, moving down to the terminal, you have a military MK46 and a custom M870 MCS. The military MK46 has destructive, talented, and predatory. Destructive, again, a pretty nice talent, but truth be told, if you're going to use a LMG, then you do have some slightly better options. So moving over to the slightly more interesting M870 MCS, this has a rather interesting set of talents. You have responsive, which is of course a given because you will always be within close range of your enemy if you're using a shotgun. You then have capable, which isn't a bad talent, but honestly in this setup it's probably the one that you would roll out and try and get something else. And you then of course have destructive, which will definitely have its uses. Although that being said, if you are going to use this for PvP because it's the choice shotgun for PvP, then you would of course want to roll out destructive because it has no use in the Dark Zone, unless of course you're dealing with the NPCs. But if you plan on going against players, then you would probably want to swap that one out. But this also has its uses because it's gear score 204, so were you running an Alpha Bridge setup, you could definitely benefit from a couple of these talents, roll out one of them, get something else that you really want, and then you could have a pretty nice setup. So this one isn't actually too bad, something you could consider picking up. It's not too expensive, so that's an option. And as for the other vendor in the terminal, the guy that sells the weapon mod stuff and the gear mods, you have a small grip blueprint for 291 Phoenix credits and an electronics gear mod blueprint for 460. So again, same principle as when I spoke about the Dark Zone. If you need gear mods, then pick them up. But if you don't, then you can just ignore this one completely. So finally, moving down into the underground. This week, the two top weapons are basically just swap place. Last week, the G36 was on top and SVD was below, but this week it has switched over. So your rank 40 gear score 229 weapon is the surplus SVD, and your rank 20 gear score 204 weapon is the military G36. The SVD has swift, proficient, and decisive. Not a great set of talents, so you can basically ignore that one. Yes, of course, you can always reroll a talent, but the base for this one just doesn't really have anything particularly stand out, so I wouldn't even waste my time on this. And the G36 also has swift, Provident, not a very good talent, and you have the staple talent that comes from the G36, Focused. So you would always want to roll out one of those, but then the remaining two still aren't that great. So basically the Underground doesn't have a great selection this time around, and given how frequently SVDs and G36s drop from the steel caches, I definitely wouldn't go out of my way to pick any of these up. So in summary, the recommendations for this week would potentially be the M870 blueprint from the Dark Zone vendor, and if you want to, the 204 M870 MCS from the Terminal vendor. But besides that, there's really nothing stand out, not particularly great weeks, so that's pretty much it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below and let me know what you think. And take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.